I'm Giulio Miglietta. Not many people can name pronounce my name, even if they write it, they ask it, nobody manages to remember the name. I'm an illustrator and I mostly do character design or stuff for animation, so the illustration for animation. I teach, freelance, then I occasionally work at the BFI, the IMAX. Work at the cafe or pick up popcorn. It's lots of fun. Build a bike when I can. Now it's much less because it's just that there's no place to do it, so it's occasional bits and pieces. Then other stuff. I used to do some extras for just acting extras. Just bits and pieces. Call an agency and they will call you and say, oh, we need this person just for a shoot, for a few hours, and you get a whole full haircut and get paid from that. But if the freelance is a bit more consistent, in some periods it's just the freelance. That's the the priority. For me, happiness is not just about getting enough, a lot of money at the end of the month. Maybe it's just never really happened. So you always try and do the most out of what you get. I wouldn't work for McDonald's. I wouldn't do. So there's certain things that I wouldn't change. I mean, it's not money is not what decide. I've done carpenting. I've done all sorts of jobs. I would always avoid banks. I would always avoid. Like parties or politics or religions or just anything that it's, I would not do anything for this. I would much rather do free work for the healthcare instead of doing well paid work for a bank. That's always been my, don't do that. I don't really like their views. Okay, the only internship I did was with Airside. And they've run for I think 14 years and now they don't work anymore. It was really, really good. I went there because I really liked that company and I tried to get an internship for 2.5 years. And once I knocked on their door and one of the directors came down, got my CV and said, sorry, we don't have time now, and then shut the door. And that still made me feel like I'm gonna try and do it. So managed to get it, and then I had the swine flu. I had the swine flu when I had just before going for my interview. So I was proper down, 11 days, messed up, but I said I just don't care, I'm just gonna go there. Then luckily nobody got the swine flu, but it was paid. It was paid I think £200 a week. I was never asked to make coffee unless I was offering to. And I was always involved in stuff like idea generating or for new projects or things that they weren't working. Or I took charges of aspects of a project that was very, very big and would never expect. I think from day one I got given stuff to do that was meant to be delivered, and then not much feedback from them, so they kind of trusted it. Then when I went freelance, straight away some bits of project would come in, so they would call me freelancing for about 2 years. And then they should know you're gonna get. I've done stuff for free for friends, put loads of work, like 2 full days of work, and then they brought me an email saying, hey, I've got the logo. Yeah, I've got the logo done. I've just playing with some stuff and I made it. Do you like it? So they made the logo and I was, yeah, why not? Why did you not tell me before? I could have saved the 2 days. It's interesting. You always have to. I think I don't know what it is. I think it's just the quantity you're gonna spend on that. The time you're gonna spend on that project. And the satisfaction as well, because when you get stuff for free, sometimes you get it. You don't value what the costs are like. Which is a bad thought, but that's how everyone thinks, I think.
You're getting my best
Okay.
You're feeding everyone you interview?
No, you're just the special ones. Me and Christine run the press, and we do all the commercial printing side of things. Ken started Hato Press with Jackson, who isn't here today, in 2009. Then we have Ollie, who is doing design work with Ken and Jackson's freelance side of things, and Liberty's our intern.
I don't know, I think it's very difficult to have an intern for a month period where they actually learn, and you can actually genuinely say that they've learned something and you've taught them something.
As long as you're happy, or you come to an agreement with whoever it is that you're interning with, that you have access, or as long as you feel that you're getting equal value for what you're putting in some respect, then I think you're not doing yourself a misjustice. So if you're unhappy with not taking like a salary or any payment, but you can't think of another way for whoever it is you're interning for to kind of support what you're doing, then sort of the onus is really on you. Do you know what I mean? You've agreed to work there, and if you haven't discussed what the payback for it, then you've only got yourself to blame, really. I think
We can't really afford to pay our intern. That's like the truth of the matter. We would love to, but we can't. So we try to arrange a form of a relationship there. So with the press, for 1 day a week, you guys reduce your own things within reason, but it has to be outside of the printing hours, because it is a commercial space, so it has to deliver what its primary function is to be.
It wasn't. I didn't realise it was for free. It was for like a friend of the family who had like a metal working business, and they just wanted like new signage and van decal things and stuff like that, letterheads and all sorts. So I worked with them. It's quite a quick thing. I worked with them probably over a month, and we didn't ever really discuss what the pay was going to be. But I felt quite secure because we've known this particular family for like a long time, and it came into the project like they were really happy. They got this stuff produced, and one day they came round. And I like answered the door and said, "Oh hi, how you doing?" And he said, "Oh well, look, we know you probably didn't want anything for helping us out." And at that point I was like, right. And I said, "But we got you this," and gave me like a little present. I was thinking, oh, okay, maybe that's quite sweet. So I unwrapped it, and do you remember those hats that Craig David used to wear? They were like boxers for your head. Like he had like little, they were like pants, and you just put them on your head. They bought me some Tommy Hilfiger pants for my head, and I was stuck between like being really, I didn't want to be really ungrateful for this present, and also being a bit peeved that like that was it. Like 20 quid probably would have made me happy. Never again. No, I'm never going to work for family or friends ever.
Family sucks.
No, we do not work weekends. When we started, we did.
Why? What changed?
I don't know. I guess like when you have when you're at uni, you work weekends and you work solidly, and you have no idea what day of the week it is. But you can't really go on like that for the rest of your life at all. And we did for the first year and a half when we'd work weekends, and we worked till like 10 or 11, even later, and come in really early and work class out. And then we realised quite quickly that you just burn out and you can't see straight and you can't focus. So it's, once you know where you want to be, then I think that you plan your life, or you have different routes that way. So every route is different, but as long as you want it hard enough and work really hard and work for it, but it really does come down to meeting people and networking.
Is it alright I'm not wearing a stripy top? I can get changed if you want me to.
Well, if you'd like to join in the
Strike
fun.
club.
Okay. My name's Anthony Burrill. I'm a graphic designer, illustrator, printmaker, and I graduated from the Royal College of Art in 1991. So I've kind of been doing this for about 20 years. I was very young when I started, obviously. If you're working for a company and you're you're kind of contributing to the company, then I think you should be paid. If it's just if you're just there for a week, you know, like a kind of little taste, then I think that's fine if you just do that, you know, just for the experience. But if you're working somewhere like for 3 months, working really hard, night and day, then yeah, I think you should be paid at least at least as much as if you were working, like, you know, in a bar or something like that. Definitely. Back in the 1990s, there wasn't really the kind of interning culture that there is now. I did a couple of things. I worked for Terry Jones, who was who started ID magazine. So I was his. I just worked for him for like a couple of months, just kind of like the odd day here and there. So I was mainly doing photocopies and stuff like that, just kind of general stuff. And I think he paid me, you know, he paid my travel expenses and like just a bit on top. But yeah, it was good experience. But I do quite a lot of free work, and it's kind of, if it's projects that I'm interested in getting involved in, then, you know, it seems like the oil and water poster and stuff like that, you know, all that was for free, but it was for you know, it was an interesting project. So I'm quite happy to do work for friends that kind of helps the business start off, things like that. But then I'm not too happy to kind of do free work for things where they should be paying, really. So I think you have to draw the line somewhere. Normally I'm at the computer at about 9:30, and then I just work through until the kids come home from school, and then I normally do about an hour or so in the evening as well, depending on what I'm doing. And I very rarely work weekends. I hate working weekends, because I think you should have weekends off. You kind of get the details of the job, and then you give a rough estimate, and, you know, if you say you're going to do it for X amount, and then they come back and say, oh, we can only afford this much, and then you kind of just negotiate, really. But I think normally you can kind of tell what kind of job it's going to be, you know, whether it's going to be, you know, take you a week or take you, you know, half an hour. I think when I started out, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, she was a photographer, and she was working in advertising publishing, and she's as soon as we left college, she was kind of working on quite big projects. So I worked as her assistant, kind of, you know, just helping her on projects and stuff like that. So that was how we kind of earned money between us. But after I left college, I didn't do that much commercial work. I was still kind of, you know, kind of doing my own stuff, really, which obviously didn't pay anything. So for the first couple of years, yeah, we were just kind of living off her income, really. But it's kind of switched around now. So that's quite good. I've kind of got two separate ways of earning money. It's kind of 50-50 between selling prints and doing commercial projects, really. So I sell woodblock prints from my website, and that's a kind of constant stream of orders, really. So it's I think for the first time ever, I've had a kind of constant, you know, kind of regular income, really. The other half is through commercial projects, so I probably do 2 or 3 projects every month. I don't have assistants or anything like that, so it's just as much as I can handle, you know, without kind of going mad really. The graphic design is a huge area. There's I think the majority of it is kind of related to business and, you know, business communication, advertising, commerce, products, all that stuff. And then there's a kind of smaller percentage of designers who make work that is kind of self-authored and work that isn't necessarily that commercial, but helps to kind of forge new ground in graphic design. So and to think about a little bit deeper about what graphic design means and how it can how it can develop really, rather than just being a service industry, something that's more concerned with bigger issues. Yeah, so does that sounds impressive, doesn't it?
I think that all kind of full-time, long-term internships should be paid. I actually started off doing a 1 month non-paid internship, but I was still on kind of funding from school, so that kind of worked out all right. But I was also doing some freelance work at the time to make ends meet. But then I kind of quite quickly went into a paid internship, but obviously kind of the lowest pay available. We're all communicators. Whatever we do, if we're designers, copywriters, we have a story to tell, and sometimes we tell stories for brands that might be a good story, but the brand might not be a good brand. And I think, you know, you have to have some kind of morals. My working hours is probably from 9 to 7 in the evening normally, but a lot of the time it's later, depending on what kind of project you're working on. If you're on a pitch, you will have to understand that, you know, there's going to be a week that you're going to be in the office until 12 o'clock every night, you know. It's kind of, it's just understanding that, you know, your friends and family needs to understand. If you're a person that likes going home at 5 o'clock every day, some parts of this industry I don't think is suitable. A bit of freelance on the side as well. I think, you know, the pros of working in a company is that you get that feeling of a group, and you can develop with others, and you also have a lot of fun if you find the right place and the right people to be with. And as a freelancer, you're obviously sometimes given more creative freedom and more choice on what type of brands you want to work with, and sometimes more pay as well. But it's quite, you know, unsure. You never know if you're going to get you know, money for the next month's bills. Because, you know, we're in an industry where a lot of people want to work in it, and a lot of people who know something about it, and everyone can go off by themselves and learn Photoshop or Illustrator or web design. So basically there's a lot of people fighting for their jobs. But I think that if you can bring something to the table that is more than that, and a sense of yourself and where you're going, it's easier as well to get an internship that actually matters. And the first years will be quite tough, and that's like with any job. The pros are that you can get pay rises quite frequently, and you can rise in the grades quite quickly in this industry. So even if you start out quite struggling, you know, it might pay off in the long run. You need to express who you are, what your goals are, where you want to go, you know, what's your mission, you know, what's the fire inside. And too many times you just see great pieces of work, but I can't see why or who this person is that's done it.